Merry Christmas, Dream Nation. This episode is going to be slightly different from our usual one, and what I wanted to do is give you a recap on 3 of the biggest things I've learned this year. This year has been by far probably the biggest year personally and business in every single way. We've grown the business this year bigger than it's ever been. We've started a new company this year. I spoke on stage in another country, 1,500 people, met some of the most incredible people, guested people on the podcast, you name it. So I've taken these 3 biggest things and I'm going to give it to you right now. The first one is this. There is a lag in your success. There is a lag. For years, I've continually visualized the life I want to create. The life I have right now, and in fact, probably the life you're living right now, is the life you once visualized, and now you're actually living it. And for me, I visualize continually like speaking on stages and interviewing incredible guests on my podcast and growing on social media and doing all these sorts of things. So I always knew it was going to happen. But when I was in the UK speaking at IFS, I got invited to go speak at the #1 fitness summit in the whole world. And I was about to go on stage, and the people that were also on stage that day with me were people like Stephen Bartlett, Chris Williamson, James Smith, the owner of Grenade, like $1 billion nutrition company. And I was walking through the hallway, and I'll never forget the feeling in my body. It was like my brain was exploding because I just couldn't really understand where I was right now and what I was about to do. It was almost like the life that I visualized for myself back in the day, I was actually living, and it just felt a little bit weird. So what I mean is with the lag is this. You can visualize every single thing you actually want to happen in your life. You can visualize it, you can manifest it, you can feel the feelings of having it already now. And then what happens is the universe is literally putting that into the intention in the future for you. And it's like a slingshot in momentum. It's like you're pulling it back, and eventually it goes. If you did that to a rubber band, it's going to take a millisecond before the back actually comes and catches up with the front. And that's kind of the best way I could probably explain as to how I felt and where I kind of feel like right now. It's like the life that I've wanted so bad 5-6 years ago that I was manifesting and visualizing, is it's all happening right now. And there is a lag in which we can visualize and create in our life, then it actually coming to fruition. So if you're on the journey of success and you're on the journey of increasing the quality of your life, just know that you can actually create every single thing you want. It's got to be visualized first in the mind, and then the second time it's going to come in reality. And there is definitely a lag in the reality of the things that are coming into your life. So hang in there, keep on going. Next year could be the year that absolutely just sets it apart for you. The second one is this, is to network with intention. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and I said to her, I was like, man, I'm really freaking good at networking, but not being one of those psychopath networking freaks that go to meetings and hand out 100 business cards. That's not actually like me. In fact, I prefer to go to a networking thing and I'll probably just talk to 1 or 2 people. But what I do at these places is I like to build deep relationships. So the biggest lesson this year would be to actually build quality relationships over quantity, but network with intention. So what I did at the start of this year, I actually wrote out a map of people that I want to network with, bring on my podcast, people that could connect me to different sorts of people. And then I thought about how could it actually be a good value exchange? Why would this person want to network with me? What could I bring to the table? And what I've done this year is definitely been able to network with a few key people that have opened doors for incredible things I never even would have thought of. For example, yesterday, one of the people that I've been able to build an incredible relationship with personally invited me to go to Richard Branson's island next year and meet Richard and have a full mastermind with them, which is pretty freaking crazy to even think about. But that all came because I like to build quality relationships where it's an actual value exchange. So set out for next year as well. Do what I did at the start of this year and make a map. Make a list of people. Who are the people you actually want to network with this year? Who do you want to build relationships with? And then think about how can you actually give value to that person to make them want to also provide value back to you and build and form a relationship. Because now when I think about networking, I actually take that word out of my mouth. I replace it with net worthing, because we all know that you are who you hang around. Your network is your net worth. And I've seen it 100 times more than I've ever seen it this year specifically, because the people I've been able to network with have literally opened up doors for business growth, business opportunities, business partnerships, and everything. So we've definitely seen an increase in income this year and just quality of life because I've focused on actually networking with intention. And before I dive into the third one, if you're loving this, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, because next year we're going gangbusters on this and making sure we put out the best content for you to level up. The third one is there's always a new level. And I think you probably already knew this, but this year I kind of went through a bit of a season of thinking like, I've accomplished the things I set out for myself. We're crushing the goals, we're doing the events, we're selling out these events, we're having a lot of fun, and we're doing it. And I even thought for my podcast, for example, that we were doing pretty good. We've got the number 6 podcast here in Australia for personal development. Had some incredible guests on the podcast. But it wasn't until I went over to the UK and I spoke with Stephen Bartlett, who's got the number 1 podcast in the world, Chris Williamson, who's got also one of the top podcasts in the UK. It's thriving. And hearing how they view their podcast, hearing how they approach their business, how they approach their guests, how they prepare for shows, how they set up, how they invest, all these things made me realize again that I'm playing at an absolute dismal level. And no matter how hard we're actually pushing, no matter how much effort we're putting in, no matter the goals we stretch for, no matter the things we accomplish, there is always a new level. And then for the people that are listening to this being like, well, I can never be fully happy then because I'm never going to fully arrive. Correct. You'll never actually fully arrive to the place you want to be at. It's never going to happen because every single time you arrive, you'll change the goalpost again. You'll move the goalpost because you've grown as a person. And what you'll actually realize is the goal was never actually the goal. The goal was actually the person that you've got to become along the journey of achieving the goal. And that in itself becomes the next thing to stretch for. What really excites me now is not just knowing that the next things I want to accomplish at such bigger levels, it's trying to think about the person that I actually need to become to attain the things that I want to get to on those levels. That's the most exciting thing in this journey. So I really think like in the whole world of personal development and wanting to continually grow and improve, it's absolutely so important to be around people that are at that next level, because I never would have been exposed to what I could take my podcast to, what I could take my business to, if I didn't continually invest into masterminds, circles, fly to the other sides of the world to meet people that are in positions of where I want to be, so then I can hear how they do things and actually just understand the way they think, the way they act, what they believe, and how they operate in their lives. If I never was able to actually see that, I would never be aware that there was a whole new level to actually strive for, and perhaps I would hit a level of complacency and hit a level of thinking like, yeah, I've kind of arrived and I've done this, because we've never actually ever arrived. We're on a continual journey, and the goal, in my opinion, is to get to the end of the whole life, the whole journey, the whole game, and to look back on it and say, I did the absolute best I freaking could. And I've already thought about how I'm gonna die. I've already thought about my last words, and I want them to be, with my last breath, would be, that was fucking sick. I want that to be my last breath. And having all of this in mind, it's just really helped me raise to a whole new level again, thinking that there's even more to go. There's even more things that we can do that I can stretch and become. And I want this to be the exact same thing for you guys as well. So super short episode for you guys today, but take these 3 lessons that I've taken from this year and actually apply them into next year, because you've got no idea what position you're gonna be in next year. If you do these things, you visualize the life you actually want to create in the next 12 months, you got a way higher chance of actually happening as if you did it. But then if you make a list of people you want to network with, because now you're visualizing, you're doing the energetics of success. But if you do the next thing, which is actual mechanics, which is actually putting a plan together and thinking, who are the people I need to connect with this year and network with that can open up doors for me to attain my goal, that's going to put it into your reticular activating system, so then you can actually look for opportunities to then go and connect with these people. And then the third one is, when you meet these people, you're probably going to realize that you've been playing really small and it's time for you to play at a much bigger level. So from our team to you guys, have the best finish to your year, and I'm wishing you massive success for the year to come. Go out there and crush it, and until I see you on the next episode, guys, go out there and dream out loud.